All right, well, I'm here with Vince Bussio, founder, CEO of Armorock. I am, full disclosure, I am Vince's son. So this is kind of fun to have a father-son interaction. But we wanted to get you on camera talking about kind of the origins of Armorock and why, we're 10 years in this month of really digging into this. And so just wanted to kind of give people a look behind the curtain and get a chance to know you a little bit. And so it's kind of fun for me to throw questions at you and see where it goes. So are you ready for this?
Sure, absolutely. And I'm just kind of giggling a little bit 10 years into this. This has been well over a 25-year journey, actually. And so we'll talk about that. True, Armorock has been in the marketplace for 10 years, but to prepare to enter into the market, it's taken many, many years before that.
Yeah. So, well, for people that don't know you, can you tell me a little bit about your professional background?
Sure. So I was fortunate enough to be raised in a family precast business, precast concrete pipe, RCP, and manholes, catch basin structures. The family has been in the business since 1956. My dad, your grandfather, is 87 years old this year, and he still goes to work every day. He still goes into the office and enjoys it. So I basically, you've heard me say before that I tell people when I came out of the womb, they put a concrete binky in my mouth for that. So I was raised in precast concrete. And as a young boy, as a little boy, I remember learning how to drive pickup trucks around the yard when I was about 10, 11, 12 years old, driving the old yard trucks around. And then back then it was the clutches, and this clutch pedal would stick to the floor, and we had to reach down. We're only, 4.5 feet tall. I had to reach down and with the hand lift up the clutch pedal to motor across the yard, and taking forklifts and almost tipping them over going too fast. Yeah, a lot of experiences. And so I grew up in the sewer collection, wastewater collection, and storm drain world. And so it's been a lot of fun. I've seen the industry change a lot, and it's exciting. So I thoroughly enjoy working in the world that people don't see but use every day.
That's awesome. Just some accolades. You were CEO and president of Geneva Pipe for about 20 years?
20 years.
Yeah. And in that time, you spent a lot of time on national committees with big associations within that precast world. So what was some of those experiences? So
I had the opportunity to serve in leadership of the American Concrete Pipe Association and served as chairman of the board in 2012 and 13. So it's a small industry. The RCP, or the precast concrete industry, we all know each other across the country, and so it's really fun for me to travel around and see friends in that industry. And the NPCA, I've been involved with that. And so again, I have the opportunity to know a lot of the suppliers and a lot of the vendors, and watch the industry grow and change and develop. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
So you could say you've seen a lot of the successes and the problems of this industry on both sides.
Absolutely.
No, that's great. As far as the genesis of Armorock and polymer concrete, because obviously polymer concrete and precast concrete, or traditional Portland cement concrete, are two different animals. So where did you first hear about polymer concrete?
So I learned of polymer concrete in the mid-80s, 1980s, with a product called Myers. Myers direct jacking pipe out of Germany. And polymer concrete has been around since the late 60s, early 70s, being used in wastewater collection. It really started with direct jacking pipe. Direct jacking pipe has the requirements of being very, very symmetrical, incredibly strong, because those jacking forces pushed on the pipe require a lot of strength. And so with the high compressive strength of polymer concrete, being able to make a perfectly round, perfectly square, really nice joint in a direct jacking pipe, it's I believe it's the best jacking pipe in the market. And that was what really started polymer concrete in the wastewater industry. And then it moved into structures. And that's really what it started, though. It's an amazing material. That's how I became familiar with polymer concrete.
And did you see any of this in Germany? Did you get to go see how it was made?
I did. And so in the 80s, I've seen it, the direct jacking pipe, and then in the early 90s when I became curious about polymer concrete for manholes, sewer, wastewater collection structures, I went and visited their factory several times to learn how they're doing, to get my head wrapped around a lot of it. I became interested in learning more about a corrosion-proof material in the late 80s and early 90s. I'm old enough and have gray hair to where I remember making, as a boy, as a young man, making 8-inch concrete sewer pipe. I remember us making and selling a lot of concrete sewer pipe, 12-inch, 15, 18, 24. Then in the late 70s, maybe mid-70s, SDR 35 PVC pipe came out, and it was an 8-inch. And I remember clear as the day that as an industry thought, oh, it's just a fad, it will go away, it's no big deal. And then we said, well, they're selling a lot of it in 8-inch in these subdivisions, and we really don't like making 8-inch concrete pipes, so we'll let it go. And then pretty soon it's 12-inch and 15, and as an industry we started going, oh no, what's happening here? Concrete sewer pipe lost its market share and lost its place in the market for not only it wasn't sustainable in H2S environments, but other reasons. But we watched it go away, and then I started thinking about, well, every 400 or 500 feet in a collection line there are structures, manholes. So now all the PVC pipe and FRP pipe are connecting into these concrete structures, and we started spraying on coatings, we started looking at linings and all these things as an industry, trying to find a solution to combat the corrosion. So at the beginning, when we looked at polymer concrete, we went to Germany and looked at it and came back and said, wow, it's a great product. It's an amazing product, but it's too hard to make and it's too expensive. So we circled back around, and as a company, we spent about 10 years doing R&D with all of the different coatings and additives and liners, and worked with a local university to evaluate these products. We had in situ R&D going on, and at the end of the day, they all fell short.
So it's fair to say that you've experimented with, basically almost everything. You've looked at every coating, liner, admixture.
Correct.
Because you're a concrete guy. I mean, if we go back on that background.
Sure, we were looking for a solution where the traditional precast plant would be able to solve that problem. And at the end of the day, they all came up short. And I was not able to look an engineer in the eyes and say, this will not corrode and this will work. There were solutions that were better, but at the end of the day, is only 50% corrosion, is that acceptable, or is some corrosion acceptable? I just didn't feel like it was an honest effort to propose a solution that truly wasn't sustainable. So then we had to overcome the challenge of the difficulty in manufacturing the product and also bring the cost down so it was affordable. And those are the two major hurdles that we were able to overcome.
So you brought up a point there that I want to circle back on. You said, well, what is acceptable? So in your experience, have any of these coatings, liners, admixtures held up? Are they a solution, or are they a Band-Aid?
No, they're a Band-Aid, and they all struggle. Again, we have not removed the problem in corrosion. We've just put a Band-Aid over the top of it, hoping that we get some extra life out of it. Yeah. So you have to go to the root cause of the problem, and that's any material that is reactive to acid. You had to go to something that's non-reactive, something that will not corrode or degrade in a corrosive environment. With the acids that's created from the H2S, you can't have something that will corrode.
So was that a weird experience for you? Again, you spent a lot of time, a lot of money to try to figure out if any of these Band-Aids would work. And that point where you came, I guess the throwing your hands in the air moment and saying, we got to do polymer. What was that like for you?
It was based a little bit out of frustration, because I was hoping that one of these products would work. So out of frustration, it was throw the hands in the air and say, okay, polymer concrete is the answer. Now let's solve those problems. And so it was a complete shift. It was just a complete shift. So, yeah.
So what was your background with, it's a completely different, we're jumping industry, right? We're jumping from cement as your binder
into
to
polymers.
resin and polymers and chemical reactions.
Wow.
Tell me a little bit about the early R&D that people didn't get to see and we probably don't talk about at Armorock.
So two great stories. After about a year of working with the resin and aggregates and things like that, it was time to make our first full-size part. It was a 60-inch, 3-foot tall riser. Pretty simple, straightforward, common product. Mm-hmm. So we were pretty excited about it. Here we are. It's time to make one, and we literally made it and mixed it by hand. And we invited the resin supplier, our rep, the resin rep, to come down and be with us. And he walks in, he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "We're going to make this part here." And he goes, "No, we can't do that." I said, "Well, what do you mean we can't do that?" He says, "Well, we need to take it outside." And I said, "Well, why are we going to take it outside?" He goes, "I'm afraid it's going to catch on fire." And I'm going, "Well, it won't, but does it burn?" I mean, it's just the complete lack of knowledge in some of these materials at the time that we had to learn. And I credit the acceleration, I credit the huge success in being able to overcome some major obstacles to the team not having blinders on that maybe they would inherit coming from the polymer world where they can't do something or they believe they can't do something.
Right.
A huge part of the success with Armorock is absolutely in the team saying we can do this. And the approach has been, failure, learn, do, plan, do, check, act. I mean, it is part of the process, and failure and multiple failures and many failures is what has been able to get us to where we are and not being afraid of failure.
Sure.
So it's been great. So this is a team that did not have any prejudice.
Yeah, and we didn't know we couldn't. Well, we didn't know we couldn't or we shouldn't.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. This team, it was like failure was acceptable, and we are doing things that no one else is doing, and we are asking more of our suppliers. We're asking more of the people around us to be on the same page with continuous improvement as Armorock is. It's a fundamental core for us is continuous improvement. So we also demand that out of our suppliers. And Can't never did anything. We don't like to hear can't. So we really push those around us to make us better, and in turn helping our owners, helping our customers absolutely get the very best products available in the marketplace to meet their needs of sustainability.
So obviously it's been a lot of labor of blood, sweat, tears, long, frustrating nights to where Armorock is now an established player in this industry and a major threat to a lot of people. If you think about what we're doing, we're changing an industry from top to bottom. That's not something that people react kindly to. How has that experience been for you? Has it been different than what you thought? This whole process, whether it's how we're being embraced, how we're being looked at maybe as public enemy number one when we are solving a problem.
Well, we work in an industry that is incredibly conservative, as it should be. Mm-hmm. We're talking about failure in sewer collection lines is catastrophic. And so engineers and owners are and should be skeptical of new things. It's been interesting to watch the progression of the acceptance of the product in the marketplace. You always have your early adopters, those who are willing to get out on the skinny branches with you. It's nice for us to be able to explain that we're not introducing a new resin, that we're not introducing a new product in this application. It's been 60 years in Europe with no failures. It works as advertised. It will not corrode. And again, so we understand the reservation of switching their specifications and moving forward, but it's all part of the process, and it's the right thing to do, and the owners are understanding that. I say they've had enough pain to make the change now, and so People understand the need for a sustainable product in their ground, in their collection. It's just we can't continue to put in products that corrode, that require rehabilitation time and time again. That's just a poor model. But the engineers have used the best that they've had. And it's really fun to go to them and tell the story and let them make their own evaluation if this is an appropriate product for their system. And we're seeing obviously great acceptance, and it's a lot of fun. It's just, change is hard. And of course we are disrupting some very traditional industries. Nevertheless, it's the right thing to do and to continue to push forward.
No, that's great.
Sure.
So I'm going to throw out some numbers for you to chew on and think about for a second.
Sure.
You've been doing this, publicly marketing polymer concrete for about 10 years as Armorock.
Yeah.
You have over 10,000 structures in the ground, and what we estimate is probably over 35,000 components of polymer concrete. More polymer concrete has been made out of Armorock's facilities than anywhere up to this point in the world. Is that surprising for you? Is that again, it's not just a pat on the back, congratulations, but looking back to where we started this thing.
Yeah, it's I remember the days when we were excited to make 5 manholes a month. I remember the days when we're just out there, engineer after engineer say, well, come back and talk to us after 5 years, or well, we'll see. I like it, but I don't want to be the guinea pig. And we're so far past that. I am grateful to my personal friends, engineers, who are willing to get out on the skinny branches and trust us to start some of these first installations. And I think that integrity, and I think that the trust that they had with us was huge, because we asked them to step out, even though this was being done in Germany and here in the U.S., very boutique, but still we're asking them, hey, we want you should be using this on that trunk line. You should be using this on this whole system. You should be using it in that very expensive wet well. And so I am grateful for those engineers and owners who were willing to walk down this path, and now they are great supporters of Armorock, and it's been interesting.
Well, and you look at it of where we've come from, and it's a two-way street with that trust, right? These engineers and these agencies and contractors trusted Armorock, and we delivered, and that speaks a lot to the character of this team at Armorock. Can you speak a little bit about the team that's here?
This is absolutely the best team that I've ever had the privilege of working with. We have incredible team members all the way across the board, and every team member is critical for this. It's a chain. It requires everyone doing their job well. I couldn't be more proud of the quality that this team is delivering to the owners and their customer service. They understand that the customer, a satisfied, happy customer, is who covers their paycheck. They understand that it's about delivering what we say we can and do. And we just have, I couldn't be more proud of this team. They're incredible men and women, incredible.
They're awesome. No, we've got a great squad here, and doing some really fun stuff.
We do.
10 years in, what does the next 10 years hold for Armorock? What do you want to see?
The growth and the fun that we're having is it's not going to slow down. We're still scratching the surface of what's out there. Mm-hmm. We're focused on the water and the waste. We're focused on the wastewater side. It's just a lot of fun to see new owners come on board and kick the tires and look at it, and then go back in some of these collection structures that have 1,500 and 2,000 parts per million of H2S, really bad, nasty structures, and they scrape the walls and they hit it. It's solid, it's hard. It's interesting to see sulfur build up where it's yellow on the inside of these manholes. You scrape it off, it looks brand new. And then they give you a call and say, wow, it really is working as advertised. And that's a lot of fun. There's a lot of personal satisfaction knowing that you're involved in helping to solve a significant problem. And it's a worldwide problem. It's not just here in the U.S. And that has just blown my mind there's just a lot of personal satisfaction to solve a problem.
So to get to where we are, easier than you thought it would be or harder?
Oh. You know, it's way more difficult.
Would you do it knowing what you know now? Would you would you commit for this journey?
The journey is very difficult. This is a very, very difficult journey on every facet of it.
Sure.
You know, it's expensive to start at. You lose millions of dollars. And you're just hoping that you get that acceleration, that growth. And then you have new challenges coming in every day. An engineer say, well, can you do this or can you do that? And we say, we think we can, and you go back to the team and the team solves these problems. And it's been really fun to work with the consultants and the designers how to tweak and to meet their needs. They say, wow, could you do this? We say, well, let's look at it. And a can-do attitude has been really fun. But it's also really hard to introduce something that is new to an engineer. You know, they're trained to be skeptical. And it's fun to watch them come on board. So yes, and it's been very difficult because they're trained to be skeptical.
So, you know, I mean, and you feel the data, right? That's just something that, as a manufacturer, you know, you have a different mindset than a civil engineer or a structural engineer. You know, the data that's required to make this thing go, that's been something that's been wild for me to see, that we've had to do, whether it's from a third-party perspective, certifications one way or the other. Yeah, even for me, that's still, there's days where I look back on where this was to where it is now. It's,
you know, each one of these engineers, these engineers put their stamp on something, and so their credibility is on the line with the owner. You know, a consultant's working with a city or a district or something like that, their credibility is on the line. So, you know, there are so many people that we, Armorock, needs to help get comfortable with the product. It's more than one, and that's great. So you get a lot of vetting, you get a lot of deep dive on a lot of questions, and you know, every once in a while a new one will pop up. We'll say, I don't know, let's go back and ask that. There are a lot of bright engineers out there that ask a lot of great questions, and we're not afraid of them. Let's just tackle it and figure it out together.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. We're proud of having you as our leader here at Armorock. Proud of you as a son to a dad, and this has been a lot of fun. So, do you have anything?
You know,
closing up for us?
I will just say again, I would say thanks to an incredible market. Thanks to these engineers that were willing to, you know, 7, 8, 9 years ago, come out on the skinny branches and have some faith and trust the numbers and the data that's available to them. Mm-hmm. And then to circle back around years later, and it does perform as advertised. Again, the proof's in the pudding. And no excuses. It will not corrode, and it's structural, and it's going to be here in the ground serving these owners for a very long time, and they will not have to spend any more money on it. So you can buy it once and forget it, or not.
So in parting, any words for our competitors or somebody thinking about trying to join in the polymer revolution and catch up to Armorock?
You know what? There'll be others. It is the way of the future, and polymer concrete structures and wastewater will be just as common as traditional concrete is today. It's the way of the future. There's no reason to think otherwise. It's the way of the future. Just as when PVC pipe came into the market, SDR 35, there was one supplier, now there's 30. That's what's going to happen with polymer concrete. It's just the way of the future in corrosion, period. So, no, it's exciting. It's a big market, and we welcome any solid, reputable people to keep moving this forward. So, no, thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. This has been fun.